What's up, sir? Y'all, Fraulein the calf is in her first heat. I think it's her first. Maybe she's gone into heat before. She's like 6, 7 months old. I don't know, dairy cows can start going into heat when they're like 4 or 5 months old. But gosh, she's been so loud. She's hanging out here at the fence with the bull that she thinks she wants, but that would not be good. We can't have no babies having babies. No, you don't want that. Farm drama. Dairy cows, when they go into heat, or heifers, she's a heifer, she hasn't had a baby. A cow becomes a cow once they have a baby. Prior to that, a female is called a heifer. But they're extremely vocal. Actually, I have experienced, and I don't know how it is with beef cattle, I've heard it's different with beef cattle, that they don't go into heat as early and they're not nearly as vocal when they do. But with the dairies, oh my goodness, they don't need their milkshake to bring the boy to the yard because their hollering does. I walked out there because I wanted to take a look at Hope since she was right by the fence. You know, we put her out with the bull and left her out there, and we had some issues for a little while. She wasn't getting bred, and we had the vet come look at her. She had some sort of cyst or something, and I'm pretty certain she's bred now. She looks like it, but I'm trying to keep an eye on her because we don't really have a grid for when she's going to be due. And I have learned that for the most part with cows, they don't really need any help having their babies, but I like to kind of have a general idea. And since she is a Jersey, we are going to milk her. So I've been trying to keep an eye on her for any signs of like bagging up. I mean, she could have a baby at any point now through the next few months. But I noticed about 2 months ago that she was starting to look like she was filling out. And I haven't seen any signs of heat in her for a while now. So I feel pretty confident that she is indeed bred. Look at this field of birds. We have all of the birds out here in this pasture next to the pond. The meat ducks, the meat chickens, and then one of the laying flocks is over here. All right, I'm trying to perch you guys on top of this hay bale. Let's see, I think that's gonna work. Hopefully you don't come crashing down. All right, so I posted a video last week about artificial intelligence, roughly a week ago, and the title of the video was, "Are we losing access to solid information?" or something like that. I'll put a link to it if you happen to not see it. The gist of that conversation was about the detrimental effects of artificial intelligence on our access to reliable information. So, you know, talking about the fact that now all these new AI tools are available to people and many people are using them to write blog posts and books, and there's no, you know, labeling what was written by a computer versus what was written by a human. And all I was saying was we need to have really strong discernment right now to be able to know that the source of our information is solid, because when you have books that are being published about mushroom identification or plant medicine or different things like that, it's pretty important that that information is legit. So I know that when I was, you know, 20 years ago, when I was taking classes for journalism and stuff like that, we were really drilled into our minds about credible sourcing and making sure that we checked our sources. And of course, with the introduction of the internet and readily available information, I think that we as a general public maybe have gotten lax in that. So that was all that like public service announcement was. However, the response was surprising because a lot of people had no clue that that was going on. Really interesting response. If you've got a minute, the comments on that video to me were extremely enlightening, because you have a lot of people piping in who are journalists and professors and people who understand the importance of credible sourcing. You have a lot of people saying they had no clue that was happening. Very fascinating information, but I had an idea. And of course, while I'm trying to tell you my idea, the wind picks up like crazy. We'll go in the high tunnel and hide behind the big okra plants. Avocado Kitty, were you hunting in that jungle over there? Yes? Windbreak. Come to escape the wind and I get followed by a pesky cat. Avocado, hush. All right, my idea. So I've read a lot of books pertaining to homesteading, and I have a few recommendations. I have done a couple of videos in the past about my favorite books. I will link that information as well. I'm going to do a new video specifically talking about a couple different genres of books. I'm going to do a couple of videos, but I wanted to invite you guys to share. So I thought it would be really cool if we could do a collaboration. Avocado. If we could do a collaboration together. I have the capacity to put information in front of a lot of people. I consider that a gift that I've been given, something I've been given to steward. And I want to create a playlist for book recommendations, for solid information. And I want to essentially open that up to you, those of you, ooh, sorry, avocado just went right under the tripod. For those of you who are content creators, kitty, never a dull moment. Okay, for those of you who are content creators, to make a video, title it something along the lines of my book recommendations or solid information or something like that, and you can put Roots and Refuge Collab in the title. That will help the algorithm pick it up, because if it has my name in the title, and then from there I will take those videos. You can comment them on this video, just comment them. You can send them to my socials. I'm going to have Michaela help me with this, my sister-in-law, to go through all of my socials to make sure that I'm not missing anything. And for the next, let's say for the next month, I can promise we'll keep eyes on it for the next month. I'm going to make a playlist that it will be highlighted here on my channel, and then I'll make my video sharing as well that this playlist is going. I'll do mine in about 2 weeks. That'll give you guys a chance to kind of start getting these in. And I want you to share your book recommendations that are solid information that you have tested. So don't just grab a book off your shelf that you've never read. You know, don't just grab one that you heard someone else recommend. If you only have one book that you want to highlight, that's fine. If you've got like 5 that you want to highlight, if you've read a lot of them, that's fine. So these are going to be resources that pertain to food growing and basically this lifestyle. So think along the lines of homesteading, animal husbandry, gardening, traditional skills, plant medicine, plant ID, mushroom ID, anything in that general vicinity, things that you think people who are going to be trying to go into this self-sufficient lifestyle, information that they would need. Now, I have my recommendations. I have done some videos kind of like this in the past talking about homesteading books, but I'm going to come up with a video talking about like my top recommendations that I would have on your shelf for solid information. But I would love to know yours, because I haven't read all the books. I'm sure there are plenty of resources out there that I've never heard of, and I think that just having another person who's using the information that they learned out of a book, vouching that it is a solid resource, would be really beneficial. Now, of course, I will always still encourage you to use common sense. I think that we have reached a point that we should always double check our sources no matter what. But the beauty is if we have a collaboration and let's say 50 people post videos, and you see the same book repeated on 10 different videos or 15 different videos, then you can have confidence that that's solid information that people are using. So this is relatively unofficial. We're just going to start it like now. If you want to start thinking about this, get your list together, shoot your video, put it up. Leave a comment. You can leave it here on this video. Now, YouTube will flag any comment that has a link in it, but I can go see that. I can double check it in my flagged comments, and I can go to your video and add it to my book recommendation playlist that I will promptly create. And I think that we could potentially, with this hive mind, create a resource that could help people know where to start, because a lot of people stated that they had actually gone on Amazon and bought books, not realizing that the whole AI generated books was a thing, and that they were reading through them thinking, I don't know that this person spoke very solid English, I'm not really sure, some of this stuff seems erroneous, and they didn't realize that AI was currently being used to write books and put them on Amazon and being promoted. So I think this could be really beneficial. If you guys want to work with me on this, I think we could work together. I mean, I can make a video talking about my favorite books, but it won't be exhaustive because I haven't read all of them. But if we all share, I think that where the recommendations cross over, we could find the most solid resources that are currently available in the homesteading community. What do you say? Are you in? So I had appointments today, and I was gone away from the house for a good deal of the day. I'm not feeling great right now. I don't know if you guys can tell that. I'm kind of having that overall cruddy feeling that precedes being a little sickly, but I'm hoping that I can shake that off by supporting my immune system and drinking lots of water and resting. So while I just came out here, Will actually worked on filling the beds in the high tunnel. I would really love to get in to planting and stay out here until dark and plant, but I do not think that would be the best decision for me to make, as hard as it is. I saw a thing today and it said when I was a kid I thought that coffee was a grown-up drink, and then I learned about alcohol and I thought it was a grown-up drink, but now that I'm a grown-up I find that the real grown-up drink is water. I'm like, that's so true. It's kind of the thing. I would love to be the kind of passionate gardener that can make the excuse to stay out till dark planting even whenever I really need to go inside. But I'm gonna be a responsible adult and do what I should do rather than what I want to do, which is get over here and start working. I mean, look at it. So lovely, so enticing. Just love walking around. It just gives me so much inspiration and joy. You know, avocado, you usually don't do this. I was trying to get a shot of the pretty flowers with the insects singing in the background, but the kitty wanted her time to shine. You know what it is that makes it so hard to not be out here whenever I have a tiny bit of time trying to get as much done as possible, is that I feel the impending change of season. And it's like days like today when I have to be away from the house for most of the day and I don't get to really spend any time on the farm. It feels like such a waste, because I know that in another month and a half everything's going to be frosted over and I'm going to be in the house wishing that it was growing season again. So as long as I have the opportunity to be out here, I want to be. Noticing all these beautiful details and soaking them up. So the tomatoes that are still in the plants are, by the time they're ripe, they're so bug riddled that they have like big rot spots in them. But I keep picking them and throwing them to the chickens for a treat. So we made some new friends this last weekend up at the Farm Where You Live event and invited them to come down and visit our farm. And Chrissy, my new friend Chrissy, and we took all of our kids to the zoo, and her husband, and it was super fun. And she and I were talking there about how there are things that you could just watch for a long period of time. Like you can sit and watch a fire burn and it can just entrance you. And we were going through the aquarium part of the zoo and talking about how we could just sit and watch an aquarium for an hour and not become even remotely bored by it. And of course they call them chooks because they're Australian, but she said the chooks are that way. She could sit and watch them, and I feel the exact same way. I feel like sometimes when I need to just take a deep breath and like settle, that I can just pull up a chair and sit, throw the chickens a couple of treats, and just watch them eat them. And it's extremely satisfying. Why is that? Does anybody else feel that way? And it's those things. It's a fire, it's an aquarium, and it's chickens. I've yet to find anything quite as satisfying to watch as those three things. I'm so tickled by Avocado just hanging out with me today. That's very rare for her. She's usually kind of a lone kitty. Alright guys, I'm gonna go inside and brew some echinacea tea, mix in a little bit of elderberry syrup, some lemon juice, and I'm gonna take to the bed for the evening. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. And please do take part in our collaboration. If you've been on the fence about creating content, feeling like you ought to, you just haven't pulled the trigger yet, this might be your moment. Go ahead and contribute to our playlist of book recommendations. And here in the next couple weeks, I'm going to give it a little while so we can accrue some videos on there, so that when I do my video talking about the books and sending people to that playlist, there will already be quite a bit of content on there for them to be able to take part in. And please, take this as an opportunity to share the information that you have found to be tried and true, that you can vouch for and share that it taught you how to homestead, so that we can hopefully connect people with resources that will help them. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today and all the days that you do. I bless you. Until next time.